This will be a quick single tooth implant surgical guide. We're going to do start to finish, so we'll go to new project, pull the CT scan DICOM files. I already have these pre-saved from my Prexion. I'm just going to import these. What I like to do as soon as it's in, I like to make sure that this horizontal plane is even, and if it's not, I can just make adjustments with this blue arrow. But make sure that the occlusal plane's nice and level. This is between the centrals. Everything looks clean. So we'll import this. Take a little while to think. All right. So you can see it's already rendered the panoramic view for us. I'm gonna make some small modifications to make sure I get the best visual. So he actually needs 2 implants here and here. We're actually only going to focus on tooth number 19 right now. We're talking about uprighting these molars and uprighting this so we can place an implant here later on. So what we need to do is track the nerve first. So we'll go to the nerve, approximately right here, and we'll click add nerve, detect nerve. Let's see if I can get it right here. Let's see what it came out like. All right, so it didn't work. So what we'll do is we'll just do this. We'll do, it's good it didn't work, I guess. So what I'll do is I'll press add nerve, and then without pressing shift or anything, just manually click the nerve, and then in this view, finish it out. All right, and then press shift to get out of that, get back out of this composite slices. Between slices, we have our nerve drawn up. I'll extend the view out a little bit better so you can get a better view here. And so that's all done. Now we're going to look at putting our implant in and designing a tooth. So what we'll do is I want to get rid of the upper arch. It's not really going to do me any good. So I'll go into surfaces. I'll press isolate. I'd like to isolate the lower and get rid of the upper. If it doesn't, okay, there it is. All right, good. So what I'll do now is I'll add a tooth, number 19, medium, let's go large, pretty large space. Okay, good. That's pretty easy. Just kind of manipulate it till it's perfect. All right, get back out of this. Now it's time for an implant. Make sure we select mandible. For the purposes of this, I'll just put a 5x8. See what that looks like. We got plenty of room. Yeah, I got plenty of room for the nerve. Let's measure it. So go to our measure tool, which is there it is. Click once to start it, click again to stop it. So we got 60 millimeters, so I can change this implant. So I'll go to replace implant, and I'll put like 11.5, that should be fine. So I'll click off of the ruler. All right, so let's look at this prosthetically, what's going to come out. Pretty much the occlusal. You can also turn on this guy and change the setting to 2.1. Now we've got tooth hole. It's coming out pretty much the central fossa. It's a little facial. So if I want to change it facially, I can make it a little bit more lingual. This might be a little bit better for us surgically. angle here. So let's do this. I like this. Let's save it where we're at right now so we don't lose all the results. That takes a hot second. So now what we can do is we can add our model and double check everything on the model. So import .com's model scan. This was my original CBCT. This is a CBCT of the model. So I'm going to import that. And what I like to do is I like to cut all this off, all this extra, and just import that. That's what it looks like. We'll press OK. Next. Then this pops up, and what we'll do is click on some points to match up these. So we'll press Shift and maybe put a dot here, here. I like to put at least 5 dots, 3, 4, and I like to put 2 on the canines. So we'll do the same thing here. And then we'll let it think, and it's going to connect the dots and try to mesh this together. And it'll jump into this. When it's all done, we'll just go into the next screen and just double check. So what you want to do is you want to look for the mesh being accurate. You see how we have an airspace here, and it's through the enamel. That means it's not a very good stitch on the back end. Let's look towards the front. Yeah, so it's a little distally inclined the way the mesh worked out. Yeah, it's a little off. So what we'll do is we'll go into surfaces, or let's see, just to fix the mesh a little bit. Go into model manipulation. That's what it is. Points, align. And then this is brought up, so I'm going to zoom this as much as possible. And this is going to be a lot more specific. So what I like to do is pick on cuss tips. So you kind of want to get these the same size. So I'll do here, here. And you really want to do anterior and posterior. And by moving it, you got to click the right and left key at the same time. Cuss tips. You can even do central fosses if you want to. And then what I'll do here is we'll do some fosses here. So this should be a lot more accurate. So just click on random points. All right, I'm gonna press OK and let it think and adjust. We'll double check this mesh. This looks a lot more accurate. You can see how it's a lot better off. So that looks good. So now we're able to make our guide based on this. We'll double check and make sure everything else looks fine from all of our images. And probably one of my favorite views is to look at an implant is in this view here. You can look at a 360 view, just kind of spin it around, make sure you're happy with everything. You can see, if you want to double check, this is coming from the buckle. So if you wanted to bring this back just a little bit, get a little bit further away from the buckle plate, maybe reorient this. Maybe reorient this implant a little bit. You gotta watch this area here. You're hitting the lingual wall. So that's pretty satisfied with this. We'll double check and spin this around and zoom in on this image. I'd be very happy with that. So now we go into checking our offsets. We'll get rid of surfaces, get rid of the tooth, and I'm going to go ahead and build my mesh. What I want to do is change these offsets because it's going to be really hard to get that long of a, and lock out my implants. It's going to be hard to get that long of a driver all the way in the back. So I'm going to change this offset distance. Let's see. So that's going to be to the original. Maybe I can use a shorter implant. That's what I'll do. I guess it wants me to use my longer drill. So what we'll do now is I have a pilot drill guide. So pilot drills, my pilot drill is a 2.0, so I'm going to use a 2.1, and I'm going to, let's see, go to guide panel, draw a curve, make sure it's on mandible, shift, draw around here, and then press edit, move my circles, and this is ready for export. So we'll press create surgical guide. All right, so here's our surgical guide. It looks good. I'm happy with it. It's a little bit far down here, so you can cut that manually. Yeah, looks good. What I like to do too is, so I'll have to do now is press, I just need to save this project where I'm at right now, so I don't lose anything. And then all we gotta do is file, export this data, and I'll click off of model. Make sure I'm clicked off of everything except for surgical guide. I have 7 exports remaining. It's just gonna charge me 1 export fee to do that. And that's pretty much it. That's a single tooth guide. What I also like to do, I didn't mention, is turn off the surgical guide. I like to look at it like this too, right before I print. It really does look even, and the central fossa of these teeth. So that's it. Single tooth guide, posterior mandible. It's a buddy of mine who's a dentist. I'll post pictures of how the case went.